Nice to see you all. So we're going to have to come up with a new expression besides hot enough outside for you. You know what I mean? Because we're going to get really tired of that. I don't know what it is. But nice to see everybody here today. And we should call the meeting to order and do the roll call.
All right, Jacobs.
Here.
Salmonson.
Present.
Raska.
He's muted.
Present.
Thank you. And we expect Scott Osterholm at any moment. Also present is Planning and Zoning Administrator Denise Swinger and Village Solicitor Brianne Parcels.
All right. Okay, nice to see everybody. Take a look at the agenda, if you will. We've got one particular, a zoning request, and then some other communications from Matt. Any changes or additions to the agenda to propose?
I have nothing.
Okay, all right, we'll go with that then. So let's take a look at the minutes from the last meeting. Do people have any edits that they need to make to the minutes of the last meeting? This is the meeting from the February 16th. Okay, hearing none, do we have a motion to accept the minutes as written?
I move we accept the minutes as written.
Okay, is there a second? Oh, come on, somebody put your neck out there on this one.
Second.
All right, thank you, Matt. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Terrific. They will be adopted as written. And thank you for, Judy, these are your minutes. These are terrific.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so we are ready to move on to the our only variance application in this. Yeah, and this is a variance for a change in the required fence height. And we typically turn it over to Denise to make a presentation, and then Keith, you'll have an opportunity to talk as well. There'll be some back and forth, and then we have to go through a whole list of criteria to decide whether to approve it or not.
Okay, sounds good.
All righty.
Okay, well, this is pretty simple. It's just a height variance that Keith, Molly Gunderkline live at the corner of West North College Street and Greene Street. And on Greene Street, their property takes up pretty much one whole block of Greene Street. There is at the one end of it, about 100 feet away from their fence, before you get to West Center College, is an entrance to Hawthorne Apartments. That's the only thing on that side. There isn't going to be, there would not be any issue with someone pulling or backing out of their driveway and wouldn't be able to see because of the fence height. There's not that the fence is at least 100 feet away from this parking entrance for Hawthorne, and it's one of several parking entrances. So that's pretty much it. They would just like to completely enclose with a 6-foot fence on this property. And you saw the diagram, so it's only, I mean, it's not 6 feet around the entire property. It's just up to their exposed deck, outdoor deck that attaches to like a 3-season room or sunroom, screened in area, enclosed. And then also along the back property and the other side, which the only thing next to that side yard is the Hawthorne Apartments. And there's big trees there and fencing. There's nothing that would block people from Hawthorne as well. And that does not go all the way to West North College. It just comes out a little bit beyond their house.
Gotcha. Okay. Do we have questions for Denise? Judy, can you put that particular slide back up again? That was nice. That's great. Okay. And is this is this something that Keith submitted, or is this something that Denise generated?
Keith added this. We received this today or yesterday. This just a little bit more detail showing where it ends at the deck, and then you've got the screen porch after that.
Gotcha. Okay. Very good. So the request is for a 6-foot privacy fence, just the yellow portion I'm looking at.
Yes,
This is the area that this is the variance for the yellow, right?
yes,
And then the green, thanks, Kate. And then the green that continues on is 4 foot. Is that right?
well, no, that's just property line. That's not gonna be fenced at all.
No.
The fence is only gonna
Gotcha.
cover about half of the property, up to that little part of the deck, and then it's gonna be just open from there to the corner.
Gotcha. And then along the front, is there, by front, I mean, one of the college streets, fence, no fence?
No, no fence. It's just gonna be the other east and south sides so between us and the apartments for privacy, yeah. And then halfway down this on this west side.
Well, Keith, since you're answering these questions, is there anything else you want to say about the project?
No, I think it's pretty clear from there. Yeah, it's just being able to go the 2 feet higher on that, what's approximately 75, 76 feet from the corner up to just enclosing up to the little part of our deck. And then, like I said, that's just about half the length of the property. So the other 75 feet from there to the stop sign in the corner will still be wide open. My understanding is that's a lot of it's safety concerns. I can't conceive of any place where anybody would have any limited vision or access or sight lines or anything to do that. And it would just, we would just like to be able to keep the same size fence that we're having on the south and east to come around to this side also.
Okay, thank you. And do we have questions for Keith?
I have one for Denise.
Yeah, go ahead, Tony.
Does the easement come in on the fence and the property line?
Easement? You mean, you're talking about the fence itself?
Yes. Can you build a fence on the property line?
Yes, yes, absolutely you can.
Oh, I thought you had to get, okay, thank you.
Tony, I think it can't be right on a sidewalk, even if that's your property line. I think that's
Right.
maybe what you're thinking of.
Yeah, if your property line extends beyond the sidewalk, which in some cases around town, you'll see the property lines going out to the middle of the street. In that case, then you have to set your fence back 1 foot from the sidewalk, but that isn't a sidewalk area there. People sign an agreement when they get their fence permit that if they put that fence on a property line where they have to go back and, there are places around town where we've got either water or sewer mains running behind houses at the rear properties. If we have to go in and tear it out for an emergency, we're not responsible for replacing it. They take that up, put that up there at their own risk.
Last question. Just out of curiosity more than anything, it really doesn't matter. What type of fence is it?
Originally, I think I'd written down it was going to be 6-foot dog-eared treated. I'm not positive about the dog-eared yet, and actually I was planning to do a lot of that myself, and I've since reneged on that. I'm going to hire somebody to do a lot of it because it's a pretty big project. We're just not sure if it's going to be dog-eared or maybe kind of what they call a Cape Cod or a rounded.
I guess my question, it's a solid fence.
Yes, it's a solid
Okay,
fence.
that's good enough for me.
Okay. And just a note on the thing, yes, there's no sidewalk there, and there is 14 feet from the edge of the road along here to
Wow.
the property line and where the fence would be.
No more questions for me, Alice.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have questions for either Denise or Keith? Judy, can you give us back all our little boxes? Turn us back into Hollywood squares? Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, all righty. I think the way we would do this is we tell me if I'm wrong, because I'm not so great at the
I think you're.
Robert's Rules of Order. I think we need a motion. And
Oh.
then we have a discussion and then we take it from there. Is that, am I onto something here?
Just one
Rand?
little piece, and that's, you got to
Yes.
open the public hearing. Other than that, you got it.
See, I knew I was missing something. Thank you very much. Let us open the public hearing and see if any members of the public have anything to say. We don't see him. Okay, great. And Keith, let me just ask you this. Did you have you had any input from any of your neighbors on this idea?
No, I've mentioned it to a couple of neighbors. Nobody had any concerns, and they, said it didn't affect them at all. They can understand why we would want that and didn't have any concerns.
I got you.
I didn't.
Thank you.
I had one neighbor contact us here, happened to come into the office and actually voiced support for it.
Oh,
Okay.
thank
Great.
you.
Okay. And so do we have a motion?
And did you close that public hearing?
We've closed the public hearing. Thank you, Judy.
Excellent, thank you.
I make a motion, we approve the variance.
I
Okay,
second
great.
it.
All right. Okay. So now
Oh,
time for a
God.
little discussion. And let's kind of maybe go around and see if people have things they want to discuss. Tony?
I said my piece.
Okay. Hey, Scott, welcome. Nice to see you. Did you get it? I didn't notice when you joined us. Did you got most of the presentation or maybe all of it?
Yeah, this is right around my neighborhood. This is right around the corner for me. I actually went and looked at it the other day. I was riding my motorcycle. I stopped and looked at it. I go around that corner and there's a stop sign there, and I don't see any kind of issue with it. I think it's very fine. I have no issue with it whatsoever.
Okay, very good. Matt? Any comments or discussion items?
Where'd he go?
Quick.
No
you go.
issues whatsoever.
Pardon me?
No issues whatsoever. No questions.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, and then I will be the one that has something to say here, which is just this. It's so funny that this would, Keith, you may not think this is funny, but take my word for it. It's very funny that this follows the last hearing we had, which also involved a fence on a corner. And if you can read them, if you read the minutes of it at the end of that hearing, and that was a fence that was not a privacy fence. It was somebody wanted to take what would have been limited to a 4-foot fence and make it 4.5 foot or 5 feet. And it wasn't a privacy fence. It has, slats that you can see through and all that kind of stuff. And there were none of these safety issues, just as there are none with yours, from what I understand. But at that time I mentioned, and I'll mention it again, this idea that there is a certain, and I don't know, I don't think the term is aesthetic. It's something else. It's something about the nature of the community interest in not having front yards with tall fences. We've had 2 of these cases in the past. The most recent one was just at our very last hearing, and then there was one years before. And at that particular one, there was an architect who was on the BZA who raised this idea. He said, you walk around a community, there are kind of 2 different types of communities. There are communities that have tall front fences, and they present a certain feel and aesthetic and vibe. And then there are those that don't allow the tall front fences. And there's a reason for that, because it's maybe friendlier or something. I don't know. And I believe that that's a real interest that we have here in our community. And so let me just, if it's fair, and I doubt that, my sense is, knowing you, that you probably can share that interest in having a friendly community, one that's welcoming and inviting and stuff. Can you address that concern that I might have as it relates to your project here?
Yeah, and what makes why this is relevant for us is obviously because we're on a corner lot. And so, I can picture what you're talking about, Alice. And I think if the really the front of the house where the front door faces, if that was a 6-foot fence, right up against the street, nobody could even, have any idea what kind of house or who lived back there. It would give a certain ambience, I don't know what you want to call it, that would, I think could be a valid concern. But that's part of the reason. We're not doing anything across what we call the actual front yard on North College, and only going to do half of it across the back, so that we can be open and, chat to people walking by in the street, which there's a lot more here than we were used to before, where we used to live. It's a very popular place to get to the dog park, I guess. Yeah, we want to be able to do that. We also want to have a part of it to be some privacy in the back. So, I want to keep deer out of the garden. Molly likes to sunbathe a little bit back there, not to be self-conscious. So just for that little part of the deck, we want to have enclosed. And I don't feel like that's creating too much of a big wall up to where, we want to be, outside the pale of the village ethos there.
And if I can comment too, if this had just been a fence in a true front yard, then, and 6 foot, as a staff, I would not have recommended approval. But, this is a corner lot, and the zoning code, it has 2 front yards on corner lots. And if you actually go further into the code and identify in those cases what is considered the back, what is considered the true front, the true front of this property is the property line that has the shortest area. So that would be what is facing West North College, which is where his house entrance is and where he's not having the fence. That in any other situation, that would be considered a side yard if there was another lot next to it. So I think what he's saying is true. It's actually not going to be enclosing the house portion or the front of the true front of the house.
Yeah. Ellis, I think the legal term of art you're referring to is actually one of the Duncan factors in terms of the essential character of the neighborhood and whether that fence would substantially alter it. And, when you're looking at fences, you're looking at protection of property, conservation, safety, security, enhancement of privacy, improvement of visual environments, consistent with the neighborhood and community character, of course.
Okay. Thank you. I think when I look at the map that Judy had up on the screen, and Keith, I assume that's what you're going to build. What we saw on that drawing. The fact that the 6 foot fence stops actually before your screen and porch, it just covers that little bit of your deck that is associated with the backyard, I guess, right?
Right.
And then the screen and porch isn't fenced, and then carrying along that line to the corner is not fenced at all.
Correct.
In my mind, I think that particular arrangement satisfies my concern about the community vibe issue. Had there been a 6 foot fence, even just along that side to the corner, I think I would be against this, because I think it would sort of violate what I think is kind of an important community principle. So I appreciate what you presented. Okay, any other discussion among the board members? All righty, does somebody want to call the question?
Motion,
We're
motion to approve the variance of the height.
After questions?
I'm stepping on you, Judy. My
Yeah.
apologies. Sorry,
You're
Matt.
stepping right on me. It's been too
I
long,
know.
perhaps, Ellis. So you ready to roll through
Would
the
you like to
Duncan
call the
factors?
Duncan factor questions for us?
So I'll just give a little pause, and if anyone has an issue, jump. Otherwise, I'll call roll after that brief pause. All right. So question 1, whether the property in question will yield a reasonable return or whether there can be any beneficial use of the property without the variance. Osterholm,
Yes.
Salmonson,
Yes.
Raska,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Second question, whether the variance is substantial. Raska,
No.
Salmonson,
No.
Osterholm,
No.
Jacobs.
No.
Third question, whether the essential character of the neighborhood would be substantially altered or whether adjoining properties would suffer a substantial detriment as a result of the variance. Salmonson,
No.
Raska,
No.
Osterholm,
Jeremy, Judy, I said no.
oh, sorry, no, I didn't hear you. Thank you.
Jacobs.
No.
Question 4, whether the variance would adversely affect the delivery of government services such as water distribution, sanitary sewer collection, electric distribution, stormwater collection, or refuse collection.
Denise didn't cover that in her briefing. I assume the answer is no. There's no.
Correct. Yeah, I did check with the fire department too. They didn't have any issue.
Thank you.
Okay, Salmonson,
No.
Osterholm,
No.
Raska,
No.
Jacobs.
Nope.
5th question, whether the property owner purchased the property with knowledge of the zoning restriction. Raska,
Yes.
Salmonson,
Yes.
Osterholm,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
6, whether the property owner's predicament feasibly can be obviated through some method other than a variance. Osterholm,
No.
Raska,
No.
Salmonson,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
7th question, whether the spirit and intent behind the zoning requirement would be observed and substantial justice done by granting the variance. Raska,
Yes. And did you skip one? Whether or not the existing creations were self-created?
oh, my bad. Thank you so much. Yep, so backing up, forget what I just said. The question is whether the existing conditions from which a variance is being sought were self-created. Thank you. Raska,
Yes.
Salmonson,
Yes.
Osterholm,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
And now really number 8, whether the spirit and intent behind the zoning requirement would be observed and substantial justice done by granting the variance. Salmonson,
Yes.
Raska,
Yes.
Osterholm,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Thank you. So now,
All right.
if you're,
Now, does somebody want to call the question?
Motion to approve the variance to the height request.
Second.
so
Okey dokey.
Raska,
Judy,
All
do
right.
you want to call the roll?
yes, Raska,
Yes. In favor of the variance.
thank you. Salmonson,
Yes.
Osterholm,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Thank you.
Can I go back to my pool party?
Scott, we need you. We're not quite done. Hang on a minute.
Hang on to
Keith
your
can go back to
floaty.
his pool party. No. Keith, thanks for coming in. Good luck. We'll look forward to walking by and talking to you while you're on your
I
screen and
literally had to drive back to Yellow Springs to get reception. I'm sitting in the new graveyard doing my.
All right. Okay, we should be done in just a second here. What else we got on here? We had a couple of communications from Matt. Matt, I don't know if thank you for sharing them. I hope people had the time to read them. They're very thoughtful and maybe thought provoking. And I don't know if did you want to say anything about them? I mean, if you want to say something about it, it has to be brief.
I would just say that we had some very thoughtful pieces contributed by Alex Melamed, by John Hempfling, by Nick Budis at the Glen, by Professor Kevin McGruder, a lot of contributions by Rose Pelzel and Don Johnson, and some contributions by Richard Zopp and Matt Kirk in the writing of this, as well as pretty much everyone in the thank you section. And I believe it's worth a read as a very, shall we say, collaborative effort from concerned people in the village who hope to ease the zoning process and hopefully reduce the administrative and semi-judicial legislative load. That's
Okay.
all.
Thank
you.
Thank you very much. Now, I mean, we understand that we don't have any particular role in amending the zoning code or whatever the other guys do. The other group does, but we don't. So, okay, agenda planning. This is my favorite item. I never know what it means. What does it mean?
Well, Judy, you're muted. There you go.
Sorry, Ellis, I hate to break this to you, but it's preferable to do it sooner rather than later. And as luck would have it, the only person who cannot do the 6th would be Matt Reed. So if you'd be willing to once again take on that leadership role, I think we're good to go for the 6th. I've got the 4 of you who can.
July 6th, is that what we're doing?
Yes.
Okay, well, let me ask the other members here. As you can tell, I purposely make some mistakes as I'm chairing the meeting in order to demystify the process of chairing the meeting. And I'm just wondering if there's, if people don't object, I'm happy to continue chairing. But if somebody else is dying to take a shot at it, I'd be happy to have you do it as well.
Matt, you're muted. Are you saying something?
No, just saying goodbye.
It was a good effort, Ellis.
All right, well, we gave it a shot. Okay, pardon me, Scott, was that you?
I said, yeah, I have no problem with you swinging the hammer. I like
Okay, all right. Okay. I thank you for the opportunity. I'll be glad to do it.
And we're going to have we'll probably have 2 variances. One is going to be where we have 2 front yards again, keeps coming up. They need to have a variance on the one side yard because it's a pretty small lot. And the other one is 314 Dayton Street, WISO. The building height, the addition is 41 feet. So it matches fine with the property. I mean, the original building is much taller than that. But they'll need a variance on that. And then I've also told them they might as well go for the variance on the height of the radio tower as well.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that foreshadowing.
Yeah.
We appreciate that. Anything else for the good of the cause?
I have a question.
Yes.
If we have 4 people here and it's 2-2, what's the decision?
Doesn't pass.
Does not pass, thank you. And then I have another personal question. If I can
Sure,
hold
Tony.
it till we adjourn or ask it now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I live on a corner lot on what is it? Fairfield Pike and Park Place. What Denise just said, the shortest distance is your front yard.
The shortest property line of the 2 front yard lot lines is your front yard.
Then why isn't my address North Park or whatever the street is, or Park Place instead of Fairfield Pike?
This zoning
Depends
code.
on where your door is.
Yeah, and
Oh, the door comes into it. Okay.
yeah,
Mhm.
and it was put into, this was in 2013, so who knows, I'm sure house.
Yeah, my
in that
house is
area.
pretty old.
Yeah.
Just wondered. Thank you.
Okay. All right, thanks, Tony. All right, if there's nothing else, a motion to adjourn?
I second the motion, or I will make the motion to adjourn.
Okay, Scott's motioning it. I see Matt putting his thumb up, which I take that to be a second. All in
Seconded.
favor?
Aye.
Bye.
Any opposed? Nay. Nice seeing everybody. Take care of yourselves.
Yeah.
See you in a couple weeks.
Yeah. See you in a couple weeks.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye,
See you,
Brianne.
Judy. Thank you,
Yeah.
Brianne.